There is a fundamental problem of suffering that we try to avoid. We look for solutions externally. Now, what has been my experience is the same as what has been said by the spiritual masters. And I will try to explain this, putting it as a concept to you. And the concept is very simple. Let the two merge into one, and all your conflicts are finished, and all the suffering associated also dissolves. The problem is that we are so busy trying to find a solution to the problem. We are so convinced that the problem is real, and we don't look at the problem. We are not paying attention. We're just using this intellect which we have sharpened, which we have developed, and trying to solve this mystery of life, this suffering that we experience, the pain of existence. Why is life not the way I want? I want security, I want stability in my relationships, in work. Why cannot I not find it? I have tried everything. I have meditated for long hours. I have done japa, kriyas. I have read scriptures. I have listened to a lot of masters, but there's no peace. What do I do? Why am I restless? The reason for restlessness is the subject-object split, which is me versus the other. However, when you sit in total stillness and pay complete attention to the content that is arising, you will find that the two, me versus the other, me and the emotion I am experiencing, it merges into one. One silence, one stillness. But you have to be absolutely still, not even moving a single muscle. Physical stillness will eventually lead to mental stillness. And this division, as soon as the thought is removed from the equation and pure presence arises, this mergence happens. So the problems dissolve into the stillness. Because majority of the problems are related to thinking. Thinking which creates this subject-object split. Me and my problems, me and my story. Thinking sustains the emotions, and emotions further create thoughts. And so this story of me and myself and my life and my sufferings and what happened to me, it goes on and on and on. World didn't treat me nice. I experienced traumas, which is all fine. But how long are you going to carry all that load? If you keep revisiting the same things over and over again, how are you going to experience something new? If you keep tied up to the limited, how are you going to experience the unlimited? In order for the peace of stillness to arise, one has to be absolutely still and let the two become one. Now I'm presenting it as a concept, so I'm saying that two becomes one, but it's actually one already. There are no two. Because the thing is, our mind sustains this subject-object split by externalizing. They are responsible for my misery. Just if the world was kinder, if things were better, if situations were according to what I want, how I want, if people were more understanding. I'm just waiting for the external variables to set right. Now I'm asking you, can you sit completely still? What does that mean? That means, can you sit with complete silence, dropping all of your stories, dropping all filters, dropping all the weapons, dropping all beliefs? Can you sit without your religion? Can you sit without your ideologies, without your concepts? Can you sit without the identification of what happened to you in the past? Can you sit completely still and observe what is arising? And in that observation, you will find that what is arising is not separate from you. So whatever arises within you merges within you, and you are the one. But for most people, they're not able to drop their identifications. But my family, my religion, my beliefs, how do I leave that? So they are always watching the content with those hard filters, and those filters are limiting the perception. They are blocking the peripheral vision, the wider vision. So they're using thought as the instrument to observe. Now thought is dualistic in nature, so the split naturally happens, me watching the other. And I sustain that split through and through. So that content keeps arising over and over. I can see that my behaviors are causing trouble for myself and others. I can see that I'm struggling. I can see that I'm restless. I'm completely in disharmony. My life is breaking apart. My relationships are breaking apart. But I'm not ready to sit still. I'm not ready to be. I'm always this or that. The moment you lower your weapons, the moment you get rid of these filters, you see things in a wider vision. And then you see that the consciousness that is witnessing the content is not separate from it. And that is the union, that is the emergence. So the nature of every arising is peace. The nature of every arising is stillness. Even when it appears as if they are two opposing forces, underneath the current is the same. The substratum is the same. And this simple understanding, which is very simple because it does not require effort. Effort is there when you hold all those identifications and try to see something. Most people fail in self-inquiry because they're not willing to give up all those identifications. So they never are able to attend to themselves totally. the mind runs off immediately to something or the other. So what happens is that there is conditional acceptance of whatever is arising. And conditional acceptance is incomplete. For example, if anxiety is arising, they would try to figure out why the anxiety is arising. And they can spend their entire life trying to figure out what happened in the past, what happened in their childhood. And they can spend decades trying to analyze, trying to use thought as an instrument. But thought is dualistic. It's never going to enable you to reach a conclusion. Every conclusion that you reach will be impermanent. It will produce doubt. You will again find yourself back to square one with the same emotions, same restlessness, again knocking at your door. So the solution is very simple, which has been proposed by masters. And it is to drop this effort, which means to drop these identifications and look totally and allow for the peripheral vision also. Because when you allow total vision, you can see the total picture of what is happening. That is the only way to see things as they are. Otherwise, things are always seen from a perspective, and whatever is seen from a perspective is always limited. Will always create restlessness, anxiety. And this anxiety will keep you running from one place to another. But when you totally surrender, strip yourself completely and allow everything to arise as it is arising without offering any resistance to the content that comes up. It is only then that the two becomes one. It is only then that you see the new. Otherwise, you're just living the past old information repeatedly. You keep revisiting the trauma over and over again and keep experiencing the same emotions which runs your life, which runs your relationship. Not just runs, but breaks your relationship. Creates separation with everything that is there. Because you're not willing to let go of this perspective, this limited perspective. So the pointer is, which is not a practice, it is just a pointer. Sit absolutely still and be with yourself, which is self-inquiry. But you have to give up everything. And some of you may not be in that place, in that position right now, because you're very identified. You're identified with your conditioning. Because that gives you a false sense of existence. You may think that if I give up all of my identifications, my gender, my role, my position in society, how people see me, won't they see the rotten parts of me? Won't I be devalued? And my answer is yes, you will be devalued. But unless and until you surrender to that, you cannot go beyond that. Because beyond that core, where your identifications reside, as I am this and I am that, there is something more beautiful, there is something vast. But if you're just caught up in this game of protecting yourself, of shielding yourself, then you live in pain and suffering. And this restlessness can be seen on people's faces. You may think you're hiding well, but it's very easy to see that. It's easy to see the fake smile. It is easy to see nervousness behind that smile. It is easy to see the pain that you're carrying behind that smile. And that is why masters have said, spirituality requires courage. Courage to face that rotten core. That core of identifications which has not served you, which has not brought you any peace in the world. It is not that you have to let go of the identifications. You just have to see them and accept them to be able to go beyond them. They are not the problem as such, but they are creating and sustaining this subject-object split of me versus the other. Whereas going beyond the identification into the vastness, there is a different realization. And that realization is that me is the other, and the other is the me. Then what happens? Then your authentic expression comes out. The fear dissolves. And the moment two arises, it is merged into one, automatically through the presence that is emanating. That presence gets hold of you. So your life experiences this new dimension, this new vastness. And you're freed from this never-ending cycle of pleasure and pain, where you're constantly chasing and avoiding. You see things as they are. You accept all the pleasure, you accept all the pain. You do not fight. When you do not fight, the effort drops. And when the effort drops, you are with yourself. You are the effortlessness that masters talk about. So sit completely still with yourself, attend to yourself, and let the two become one. It's very easy, it's very simple, it's the simplest thing. All it requires is intention. Just sit quietly, without distractions, and attend to yourself.